Hello, this video is going to be looking at charts. So it's the things in the syllabus for the advanced ICDL qualification for spreadsheets. So it's going to be covering particular areas. You can use Excel 2016 I'm using to demonstrate, but you can use, as always, Office 365 or even Office 2019. It's all pretty much the same stuff. So what you've got here, as you can see, there's lots of areas. We can do charts generally, but this is just going in that little bit more, drilling down a little bit more, and maybe using some areas that you don't, or you're not aware of, or just don't use, or not sure how to use them. So it's going to take you through quite a few things, some good stuff. It's fun to do, which is always helpful when you're learning. So hopefully you'll pick up a few things and hold on to them for the exam, if that's what you're doing, or just use them in your day-to-day assignments or work or whatever. So this is Stephanie Toman. I hope you enjoy. Thank you. And open up the first one, charts. Charts are pretty straightforward. I'm sure you've done a lot of these things before, at least some of them. So we're starting with the formatting worksheet right at the beginning. I'm just going to bring this down for you so that you can see the areas of the syllabus that I'm going to demonstrate. So these are the areas you would have expected to know for the exam. So moving a legend, very straightforward. You can either right click on all of these features and you can format a legend, and that would bring up a side task pane. Or an easier way is to use what they call the chart elements. So when you're clicked on the chart, you click off, the elements have gone, click on it, the elements are there. So if you go to chart elements, there's your legend area there, and then you can move it and you can bring up more options, which is once again the task pane that I showed earlier on a right click. And you can even just click on it and delete it. Okay, let's bring that back in. So with regard to gap width, if you right click on one of the data series, the format data series appears on the right click. If you click that, once again you get the pane that comes with it, the task pane. And there's your gap with the area there. And you can see that if you keep going, you'll see the gap changing on the data series. Okay. Removing a turnover series and then adding it again. If we look down here, the green data series is the turnover. Just click off. If you click on, you'll see the handles on each turnover. You can just hit the delete key and that will remove it from the data series without affecting the data. If I just undo that, keep an eye on the turnover information in the data sheet. Now, because I've clicked on the turnover here and you can see the handles activated, you can also see that that's the activation data there. And this is how we can move data off the spreadsheet. If I click on the spending one and I use that, I can then remove the December data there too. So it's whatever's activated here when you created your chart is what's being reflected in your spreadsheet. Let's just undo on both of those, they're back. So we deleted the turnover. I'm going to pop the turnover back in. So if we go to these chart tool tabs here, you've got design area and you have a formatting area. I'm going to use the design chart tools tab. And you have a select data here. This select data, we can now add that turnover again. So if we add a data series, our data series name is going to be turnover, and we can pick that up from A4 on the spreadsheet. And then the series of data, we click on there and expand it. It's going to be the data values that go with it that we want to be seen in our chart below. We OK that, and you can see already, even before I OK, that has been added. So it's took its series name from there and its sheet from data from there. If I click on it, it's back again. The next bit is talking about removing data series from the spending without deleting it. Remember how we did that? We click on the data series spending and then we can just move that away and that would do that. We're going to change the spending chart line type to a line chart. So the spending, once again, the purple, right click, change the series chart type. You don't use up here. If you use up here, both will change into line charts. So what we need to do is go down here. So we're changing the spending one. So it's the spending one we're picking up, and we're changing it to a line chart, and then OK. All right. And then the final thing is move it to a new sheet. So we're not going to cut it and paste it somewhere. We're actually going to move it properly. So if you right click, you get the option to move chart. However, depending on where you right click, you may or may not get this option, so be aware. So obviously right click there, you're going to get things to do with the legend. If you right click there, you get things to do with the formatting the data series. Here, it'll be a plot area, etc. Whereas here, on the chart area, you will get the chance to move the chart, and you can move it into a new sheet, and you can rename it there. So call it chart 1. There it is on a brand new sheet. And then you can move it back again, back into an object within a sheet, and it's in the formatting sheet. OK, and then the chart with the sheet on its own, with this chart has gone, and we're back to a formatting sheet. And then you can obviously make it bigger as you wish. The next sheet we're going to look at, and the thing on the syllabus, is sparklines. So this is in the new syllabus being introduced, quite straightforward. So as it says, it's a way of doing things graphically. So it's a good way of seeing things visually and graphically, and it shows mapping and changes over time. So if we look at this one here, that's already been done. This is a group. So if we right click on the sparklines, you will see the sparklines feature coming up. So in the exam, they may ask you to edit or to clear sparklines. So you've got your edit group. This is not a single one. You click on there. You can see that it's based on B4 to M4, 14, sorry. And then the location of it is that data range there. So if we cancel that and we clear it, so remember we have to right click, not doing a delete, into here, let's clear that group. So it's gone now. Highlight the range where you want to. So we want that data changes over here to be visually seen down here. So we go into this Insert tab, find the sparklines, the line area. The data is going to be B4 to M14. And it's already put it in because we highlighted it before we did. But if you wanted to put it in, then you could. Then when you're OK, those visual graphics will come up. You can see the 10 is not doing much, but it's going across. What's going across there is going down here. It's a single one. So if we right click and we look at this one, sparklines, and we go to edit the single group, this is based on just that data B14 to there. You can see the data, how it goes along and goes up. If we look at this one and we click in here and we do this single one across here, then we can auto fill in. So actually what we can do is go to the insert, let's click on the line again. Our data range is going to be, whoops, all of there, like we did before, and we've got it in 04. So if we OK, it'll do that. But if we come here and we highlight it, go down the range like we did before, then it will complete that range. And you can see it's exactly the same range, data range there. So just be aware of that. Remember, everything for sparklines, if they're already existing, is on a right click, and you can do everything you need to do in there. Okay, and you can see I've just cleared that. Moving on then, continuing with charts, we've got about formatting the axis. So this is the y-axis here. So we want us to change this y-axis. So to activate your y-axis, double click on it, and then you get the format axis task pane coming up, and wants us to change it to, you might in the test ask you to do this, change the figures. It's going to be something sensible because it's got to be divisible down here so it looks right. Then if you're asked to use a label, you need to be aware that the labels are here. So you're not typing in a label, it's sat there already. When I click on it, you can see the thousands appears here and the data changes there. So we take it off, back to none, you can see how that changes. may ask you to use thousands, 100 or something else. When it comes to changing these numbers, the formatting of the numbers, if you go all the way down, you have an area called number here. Just bring it down. When I select it, this becomes available, and you can find currency in here and lots of other things as well, all the stuff that you would find in the normal formatting area within spreadsheets. And you can change the decimal places to 0. And if you wanted to, you could change this to a different, you could have a euro or something. I'm going to leave it in pounds, and you can see that the format code is all there, and that's changed, and then they've changed to pounds. So that's everything we've done. Thousand separator, if you're asked about it in the test, if you scroll down here, and you'll see a little tick box is up. If we go back to number, and there it's there. That's your usual, but it has to be there. If you're in currency, you can't see it. But if you're in number, and they ask you to use the thousand separator, because if we've got that on, and we haven't got the thousands label all the way up there to none, you can see the separator there. Let's try and take that off now. Remember, it's got to be a number to be able to see it. Take it off, and it changes to how a graph chart area really should be in the format. But we're just doing currency for fun. We've got our decimal places, thousand separator. We know where it is now, and then that's done. All those areas you need to think about in the exam for syllabus. It comes to fill. Pretty straightforward. You've got gradient fills, you've got picture fills. And when you do picture, you will get textures automatically. And there's your textures there. Okay, so although I've not really done anything, notice how my fill is applied to the chart area. And do that. And you can see that if I click on these, that's what now will apply. If we go into our different types of texture, it's only affecting those. So remember, where you are in a chart will make a difference when you change it in the exam. So if you're just clicked willy-nilly in here and you go in and you're asked to put in a texture, you can see what will happen. Okay, so let's go back to no fill. When we look at the data labels area, you can see that these all have outside end data labels. I click on them like I just did, and you can see the handles on each one, and you can hit the delete key and remove them all. So a right click on a data series going into add data labels will put them on outside end automatically or by default. However, if you're asked to do something else, it's a much easier way. Make sure they're all clicked as they are. Go into your chart elements, tick your data labels, and then on the options, you have all of the different options that you'd like to use. If there's an option that's not there, and click on the more, it might be that they want you to take the value off completely. If we go back to close that down, go back to your elements, data labels, more options. They may want you to put the category name and take the value off. It may be the series name and take those off. So be aware that there might be different ways of them wanting you to display those data labels, but nothing more than that. So nice and easy. You only need to ask to do them. You can do a single right click for an outside end, otherwise use your chart elements. Very simple. Okay, moving on to secondary axis, another thing that's very simple. If you right click on the line chart, make sure you're on it, format data series, you will get that automatically coming up. Then when you click on there and we close this, you can see that it now has a secondary axis. Secondary axis obviously is used if you've got very different data. If you also click on the next one, another part of the data series could be about filling with a picture or an image. So to do that, you know how we did when I said the word filling, that was a clue. Go into the fill, and into the picture. You can pick up either a picture from there, but in the exam, you're going to go and get yours from the Z drive. So we're going to browse through. I'm going to browse to my desktop, which is where I left my files for this. So it's usually nice and quick. I can just get this to come down. There we go. Into the folder. There you go. And pick it up. And then put in a computer picture. So remember, if they ask you to fill with an image or picture, you will find it in the Z drive, and everything comes from the Z drive. So remember, it's a right click and go through the fill option there, and that will fill. So we've covered that for charts with regard to all of the things that you need for your syllabus or for your exam.